mostly just because we like dunking on Facebook, we're going to talk today about how their stock prices have not really been doing very well. Stock prices about a third of what they were at their peak. We'll talk a little bit about it on today's Not So Critical update.
It's been a while, but I'd like to start off with a hearty fuck Facebook.
Yeah, I'm going to second that. Yeah, I'm going to second that.
I'm just going to open with that.
Yeah, that's a good opening.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Oh my God, look at that drop. That is just an amazing, really chef's kiss. And I guess the greatest part is the density of time. There's such little time and such a steep drop here. We're talking about a year, and they've lost over 60% of their stock price, which is in value. It's just unbelievable.
This first dip is February, March of 2020. So this beginning of the pandemic. And then I would have imagined that the pandemic probably was pretty good for Facebook. You've got a shitload of people stuck at home spending all their time on social media. This, when it dropped, I don't know. So this is January of this year. February of this year is when they had this huge drop. What happened? Did something happen? I'm sure I could have gone.
I think it's just a cascading effect of reporting loss in users.
Wait. So I can't see the graph that well. But when was that? January this year?
So the first quarter is when this drop took place. And then at the end of the first quarter is when we started reporting about how they are reporting their first losses. They're losing users. I just don't know what the cause was for that decline then. And this is the stock price, right? Not the actual users. So the stock price could go down for whatever, made up financial reason investors come up with.
When did they announce that they were going to change their name to Meta? When did that happen? Like end of last year, right? Sort of, was it like a year ago? Okay, let's do this live. Facebook changes name to Meta. 9th October 2021, 29th of October. So Q4 last year.
So there would have been plenty of time before that fall in January, but at any rate, it's not good news. it's pretty bad news. For the investors.
I love it. I think it's great news. I'm really not a fan of Facebook or Meta in any way whatsoever. I mean, I don't know. So I was at a conference recently, the Ad Filtering Dev Summit, which was quite interesting. And Meta, a guy from Meta, did a talk about private ad tracking. And there's a whole community. There's a whole bunch of different. Guy called Ben Savage. There's people working on ways to track users, track ad views, using he said it was easy, but it was like fairly complicated maths about how you have different people and shared secrets and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. It just smacked me overall of like, I don't know. So disingenuous and so sort of like hidden. I just didn't like the overall thing at all, is what I'm trying to say. Very badly, I'm sorry. But just, it felt like they were trying to look like they were doing something good, but not actually doing anything good. And that's Meta all over, isn't it? As far as I can tell. There was another thing this week, sorry to keep ranting, where they took down some disinformation sites, something like that. And there's some disinformation groups, and I'm like, wow, well done. You have taken off 1% of the shit on your platform. Hooray, well done. You're so amazing. Like, come on. What about all the other stuff?
It's kind of like it's the right time. It's the right time for Facebook to leave and not come back. And no one needs Facebook. Like, we don't need them. It's not a good thing for society anymore. Maybe at its start it was good at connecting, but like, and you know, I don't think that Meta is going to go anywhere. I think that Facebook and their other ventures will stay. Instagram is probably fine, and WhatsApp is definitely fine. And they'll look into other forms of revenues, but Facebook can shit itself and keel over. It's time.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong here. Just a good day.
What do you think, Mike?
I don't think Facebook's going anywhere in the short term. Some of these struggles go to the competition from TikTok against Instagram. If anything, Instagram's probably got a harder time than Facebook proper right now. Their drive towards the metaverse stuff seems to have slowed. They haven't been in the news every week with that like they were for a while, but I think the hardware strategy is becoming more clear. I think it's a good strategy. There's some things that Facebook, from a business standpoint, is definitely doing right, even though as a social media company, we hate them and what they're doing to society. And they're going to find ways to keep making money for sure.
No doubt.
Despite the fact they've lost $300 million off their stock,
600.
market cap.
They've lost 600. They're at a third. They've lost
one third. Sorry, they're only worth three. They're still worth 300 million. That was what my point was going to be. But that's a lot of money still, and they have a lot of money in the bank. And Mr. Zuckerberg did say, we're not worried about short-term fluctuations. We're focusing on the long-term, the end game, the 10-year plan type thing, which is what he should be doing.
Agreed.
But I don't trust him when he says that. I think he's just saying that because they're fucked right now. So what else can he say?
And he did recently fall out of the top 10 of the Forbes wealthiest people list. Is that?
That's how much money he lost from this? Wow.
I think so. I think he's still on the list, but he fell out of the top 10, if I remember the story correctly. Which probably is a bigger motivation to him personally than anything else.
That's the problem with the whole that I think is the crux of my issue with Facebook. I don't think they have any possibility, any chance of like turning things around and becoming an ethical company.
No,
because they've got Mark Zuckerberg at the top. I don't think he has good intentions.
He fell from number 3 to number 11.
That must have stung.
And maybe even a little further now based on because a lot of his wealth is tied up in Facebook stock. So if the stock goes down, his personal wealth goes down with it. But which is the same problem Musk has. If Tesla stocks go down, he goes down.
It's the same with all of them, isn't it? Apart from the
Sure.
Oh yeah. I always thought these top rich list things were always a bit weird because it calculates their net worth based on stuff that fluctuates so crazily.
Yeah, I know. It's all shell games.
Yeah.
But we have a fun, actually interesting story for tomorrow. So let's wrap this up and we'll see you then.
Fuck Facebook. Join Discord.
Agreed. Fuck Facebook.